Yeah, and I think what's fascinating is to see how the dating behaviors of one particular group, so say for example, Asian women, how that has an effect on Asian men and how Asian men identify, because there are a lot of Asian American men whose identities are, they can be really, really toxic, where they go after Asian women and they sort of target them who are dating white men. And, for as much criticism as I have of Asian Americans who glorify white partners and seek only white partners because they believe that it's a sort of way to accelerate your way up the ladder,
It's
the
a
social
fact,
ladder.
yeah.
And so as much as I get, I also understand that there are those toxic sides of those communities. But like you said, I think it really is just interesting to see how Black women and Asian men take all of the things that have been said about them, not just from outside groups, but from within their own community. And so you're living with just so many different narratives of people telling you who you are, what you're like, what it's like to date you, what it's like to be with you, why they shouldn't date you, why they should date you, or who you deserve to be with. And so over time you start, I noticed for a lot of in talking with a lot of Black women when it comes to dating and their identity is, them really trying to figure out, like, okay, who am I, and struggling to convince sometimes people when they're dating, like, hey, this idea that you have of me is wrong. I am different than what you have heard about dating someone like me. And so that's why
that is so true. Oh my God. Yeah, it's so true. I think it's true with Black women. I think Black women probably suffer a bit more. I mean, I'm going to be biased because I'm a Black woman than maybe Asian men do, because men are men. There's an advantage to being a man.
Of course.
But absolutely. When I do see Asian men and Black women together, there's different scenarios. I can say Jamaica. Okay, so there's a lot of Indians and a lot of Asians in Jamaica, and whenever I see like an Indian dude with a Black chick, I said, I bet you anything they're from Jamaica, which I'm usually right. There's a huge like Asian community there, right? Then say my college, I'm an old woman now, married to an African American man, but when I was younger and dating, if an Asian guy approached me, it was because he was really, really enculturated into the like a very diverse community. Maybe say a Filipino guy. So then guys who were Asian who were half white. That sounds funny and ironic, but it's true. When I was a young lady, if an Asian guy approached me, there was a good chance he was half white. And for whatever reason, I don't know if that dynamic changed their mindset, about that. But I did notice that. I thought that was kind of interesting. But if you were an Asian guy whose parents recently immigrated from, say, Korea or Japan or China, I think you had brought this up. It's really like folks are told Black people stay away from Black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't go into the Black neighborhoods and all Black people are criminals. I'm serious. And I'm not just saying this, is because people have told me this,
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's a shame that for these stereotypes, even for a lot of Americans, even if you're talking about the most average white American who doesn't really know about race, there are certain things that they would even have an inkling to be like, okay, well, that's not true. But there are a lot of Asian people there are a lot of Asian folks, especially a lot of people from Asia, who have just an inability to separate from just the most gross stereotypes and myths.
Yeah.
And, having talked to people who, especially a lot of Black teachers who went to Korea to go teach English, and then they come back with these stories about, like, hey, I had a student who was trying to rub my skin to see if the color would go away, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm sorry for the billion people there. But...
No, I mean, and, this is kind of human nature too. I mean, like, in all due fairness, human beings do certain things, and
Yeah.
so I try not to judge that. If I was born in Korea and I was trying to come here to America and I saw this stuff on TV, who's to say I wouldn't think the same thing? So I try not to be judgmental,
Yeah.
of that. But this is a freaking issue,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and I mean, I was just this one guy. I was just telling my husband about this, and I took the Uber home from the airport, and it was an Asian guy, and we were just blabbering and talking, And he goes, "Well, where are you going?" And I said, "Okay, I'm going to Park Forest, which is it's a mixed area, but it's predominantly black." And he goes, "You live in the South area?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, you shouldn't live there," right? Oh, God. And he went on a campaign telling me, a black woman, right, why I shouldn't be around these black folks, right?
Oh my
And he's like,
God.
"It's really dangerous," and da da da. I was like, "Oh, God." I'm patient. I guess because of like the crap I've dealt with growing up, I'm really patient about that
It's like
stuff.
you've heard it all before. And
Oh God, yeah, right.
yeah.
So when we got to the area, he's looking around. This is a true story. This just happened a few months ago, and he's looking around and he goes, "This is really nice." I'm like, "No, dude, people aren't running around the streets throwing bottles."
Yeah.
Right? But he believed this, and I know he believed this is because that's what he was fed before he moved here.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point, because unfortunately, that tends to be one of the quickest rumors that can spread whenever you move to a city. I remember when I first moved to Dallas, and I was talking to my coworker, and he was like, "Oh, don't go in that area because that's like, that's the ghetto area. You're gonna get shot there." And he didn't have to tell me anything else, and I already knew like his whole spiel. Which, by the way, it's like you go to the neighborhood, and it's like, okay, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like that's where you go to get like the good burgers and the tacos, and it's like, come on now.